To celebrate our 30th wedding anniversary, we're heading to Europe.
For 30-something days. Our plans are to explore France, Switzerland, and Belgium over 35 days.
And we're capturing it all in this digital scrapbook.
We hope you enjoy our retelling of these adventures.
In this episode, we continue our visit to the Swiss Alps. We're leaving Adelboden, but we're heading to Zermatt, which is another small village in the Swiss Alps.
We took a bus out of Adelboden to the train station at Frutigen. We just missed the train, so we waited a little while at Frutigen, which was actually kind of nice, beautiful day. Then we took the train from Frutigen to Brig, and from Brig a short ride over to Visp, and then from Visp all the way to Zermatt.
Yeah, I think this trip we had the most changes than any of the trips prior, but we enjoyed it because of the beautiful scenery we got to see along the way. One of the things to know about Zermatt is they actually don't let any gasoline or diesel vehicles in the town limits, so you have to take the train down, and if you're driving, you need to stop in the train stop right prior to Zermatt and park the car and take the train to Zermatt.
We weren't sure if the train ride would get us there late or early with all the connections. Turns out we got there early before our check-in time, and we were starving, so it was fortunate. We wound up grabbing lunch near the train station and then hiked, I think it was 20 minutes to our Airbnb.
John was a hero and carried my heavy black bag for me. I made a tactical error and didn't bring a backpack, which I really should have. Lesson learned for the next trip. Our little apartment is in House Julian, and it's just what we needed. It was very small, but very cute. It had comfortable beds, nice storage solution, a little dinette, and a kitchen that had everything that we needed for our stay here. Here's the kitchen. Why is it doing that? Good. Little bitty fridge. Kitchenware. Maybe not so great bathroom, but it's okay. We'll make it work. The balcony. A couple of chairs. Hi, John. Giving a tour, so we remember it. And that over there is Matterhorn.
Once we got settled and put our gear away, we hiked back down into town to get some shopping done and get some supplies for the week that we were going to be staying here.
There's a ton to do in Zermatt, and we're only here 4 days, so we had to decide to prioritize, and one of the top priorities for me was taking the cog train to Gornergrat.
We had taken a cog train at Pikes Peak. It was our first experience with one, and on that ride they talked about how that train was inspired by the Swiss cog trains that had been built originally. And so Gornergrat is famous for this, and we were excited to take the ride up. Well, excited and maybe a little bit scared.
John did us a solid and made sure to get a seat on the right side of the train, which is the scenic side.
Because I was advised to do so. So
Yes.
I just followed instructions to the letter. There was a bit of a rush to get those, and we secured one.
Once at the top, we were absolutely gobsmacked at how beautiful the view is. You can see multiple glaciers as well as just a panorama of the Swiss Alps. Absolutely breathtaking. They were all sold out when I checked, but there's actually a hotel at the top of the mountain that you can stay in, which would have been amazing maybe another time. But there's also a cafe in there, so we decided to go and get ourselves a little treat and get warmed up.
You have all this?
Ordinarily, there are a number of hiking paths, and we had hoped to go around some of them from up here, but unfortunately, we learned that they had a lot of late season snow, and many of the trails were still covered in excessive amounts of snow and were unsafe, so we were not able to go hiking.
Similarly, our original plan was to stop in Rotteboden and view the Matterhorn reflection in the lake and hike down the mountain. Unfortunately, the lake was frozen and the hiking path was unsafe, so we just kind of hung out there and enjoyed the views and ended up taking the train back down. So our next adventure was to go to Matterhorn Glacier Paradise. Luckily, the tickets were basically right around the corner from our apartment. So we grabbed our tickets and headed to the gondolas.
It takes multiple gondola rides to get up to the top, so I was excited. This last gondola ride on the way up was super comfortable, except for the fact that 3 different times they stopped just to let the traffic clear at the top. But hanging over these amazing gorges definitely tested not just my patience, but a couple of people's patience.
Good?
Yes.
You're very brave. That was a lot of fun. Need the WC? There are a few different things to do at Matterhorn Glacier Paradise. We decided to recover from our gondola ride by watching a quick little movie. Hey, we have a cannon as well, babe. One of the things that we learned is that people could actually ski up here year-round. So 365 days a year, people can come up here and ski or snowboard.
Yeah, on the way up, it looks incredibly scary, so I wasn't clear how they could possibly ski down. Most of these people look like they're pretty good, but not, that caliber. But then on the backside of the Glacier Paradise area is much more what you would expect in a traditional ski slope.
Would be me.
Hi. You're cute.
The Glacier Palace is one of the core attractions at Matterhorn Glacier Paradise. So we decided to go check it out.
Yeah, this is an exhibit that's carved through the actual glacier that's up on top of the mountain. And they have a number of different areas or rooms in the glacier through this pathway. And they contract with local ice sculpting artists to fill it with interesting exhibits and artwork. Really cool.
Yeah, and we actually got to cross over from Switzerland to Italy as part of this. You can see where they've got the Swiss flag, got an X that marks the border, and then the Italian flag.
stairs. Carefully kind of slope down.
The ice carvings were amazing, but what I really appreciated was the natural crevices and coloring that we saw of the glacier.
Your hands are so warm. I wasn't
For sure, it's gonna be like kitschy or right, but
After we were done with our tour of the Glacier Palace, there was one last thing to do, which is go up to the 360 observation deck.
Hello, my husband. You okay? All right, let's go down. Yeah. So I'm just wondering if this is.
During our return gondola ride, we decided to build in a hike, so we stopped at Fury, got a bite to eat, and hiked back down to Zermatt. And if not, I'm happy to share my jacket. I think this is more interesting looking, so I think we take this one. Hope we don't regret it. I had hoped during this hike that maybe we would run into some of the famous Zermatt black-nosed sheep, but all we saw was a cow.
More of them. Oh yeah, we're almost home.
Later that same afternoon, we walked into town to visit some of the famous sites of Zermatt. One of the first things we came across was this amazing cemetery.
The cemetery was built to honor climbers who had perished in the Swiss Alps.
Our Swiss pass covered the entrance fee for the Matterhorn Museum, so we decided to give it a visit. The The museum covers both alpine living as well as alpine climbing, and gives history on both those.
Get in there, buddy.
We did find just a touch of American history. They had a letter from Teddy Roosevelt from when he climbed the Matterhorn. I did get to see some black-nosed sheep in the museum, and sadly, these were the only ones that I ever got to see.
In another example of the type of serendipity we experienced on this trip, as we stepped out of the museum, a military drum group was just getting ready to play, and we happened to show up on time to watch them.
The main street of Zermatt is filled with all types of shops, and we did do a little window shopping while we were here. Walking around Zermatt was beautiful, and we kept on seeing these little kitty cats, but only one of them would play with me.
What about this thing? What about this thing? Yeah. Yeah. You would keep your claws in. That was nice of you. Yeah. Where'd you go?
Zermatt was as beautiful as Adelboden, and we really loved the Swiss Alps and definitely intend to come back. For our next stop,
We're heading to Geneva.